Continuing on, we're in Dalit still in the Perkei Psicha. So continuing from Dalit, so continuing inside. Again, everything we said at this point. I think last week, last time we met, that was when we were discussing again, like all that the important nekuda that we have to be learning all these like small pieces of tefillah. It's all part of the learning of tefillah, which we just never do. We never focus on. But even these small things we spoke about last time, the power of Chazar Sashatz. Right, I said, like, just a small thing. Even Rapinkus is like, he's like right here, he's like, you can hear this little thing, this little shtickle thing. He's like, I guarantee you right now, it's going to change the entire way you view Chazar Shas for the rest of your life. I'll tell it to you, it'll take me 3 seconds, just listen. Right, and then we heard it last week. What was it? Just a quick reminder. Right, we said that the reason that we daven Shemona Esrei quietly versus Chazar Shas say out loud. He said, Chazar Shas is more powerful than Shemona Esrei. Why? How do we know that? What's the proof for that? Because of the fact that the reason we say Shemona Esrei quietly is because of the fact that we don't want like the klipas, the itzaharas, the bad spiritual things to come steal our tefillas. But the raya for the fact that how powerful of a Chazar Sashatz is because that's why we say it out loud, because we don't care. It's so powerful that they can't touch it anyways. So we scream it out to them. We're like mocking them. Look how powerful it feels. And we said that during Chazar Sashatz, we're supposed to actually have kavanah. We're supposed to have kavanah, and you have extra power during Chazar Sashatz to have kavanah when the Chaz is actually saying you're not supposed to Chaz v'shalom go and talk to your friends and do stuff like that, because literally it says in Mishnah Berurah that the reason shuls are destroyed, our Bate Knesset are destroyed because people talk during Chazar Shas. This is in the Mishnah Berurah and Halacha. So very interesting stuff. But again, these are all like small little nekudas. That's like, if we just knew all these types of things, that'd be great. And Shimshon's like, so let's learn about it. Let's start learning about avodas tefillah. Else we're never going to get anywhere. So let's continue on down. So Eitzah Haikaris, Eich Lalos B'Andregos Atfila Ula Hasigba. So the main Ikar Eitzah about how to grow in the levels of tefillah, ulahasik, and to succeed and to understand. Ba'a kavana harauya. Hilik boaz manim la'avodas tefillah. Right, again, this is something he said multiple times, and he's just repeating it again. That we have to set times to work on tefillah. Michutz zman tefillah atzva, outside of tefillah itself. Bizman tefillah, tzarich lispal hatev. At the time of davening, you need to focus on davening. Shezeh atzvo tzarich higiya v'avodah rab, because that in and of itself, just davening itself, already takes enough toil and enough effort. Like if you want to start trying to combine, and he's basically taking a note. Like people, there's sometimes you'll find people who like during davening like crack open a davening sefer and stuff. He's like, it's not going to do anything. You have to put it in. Davening takes serious effort as is. Now to try to add it and try to learn about davening, it's not going to work. You have to be a separate time. The host of koach v'kisharon, but the hardest to tefillah. To learn again, all this stuff, these kavanas need to be brought about on the side. Other times that are going to bring us to be me'oras, to awaken us, to cleanliness in the lave, betvila v'havanas and the understanding of the honor of tefillah. Okay, v'hine matzinu eitzel Avram Avinu. We find with Avram Avinu sheyeshno tefillah shikmon bilchama. There's like a tefillah which is like a battle, mamish. U'v'bilchama. And just like we know that in any sort of battle, what does the success of the battle depend on? It depends on the hachana. It depends on the battle preparation, right? It depends on the exact intelligence. V'lo yitalkin lageshes lemechama. V'rak az b'shas ma'isa l'tochnan esofanei al lechima v'lechadei racharavas. Right, it says that you'd be a fool. And the way to approach a battle, I guess, is to approach like a milchama, and then only at the time of the actual battle, that's when you're going to start making your strategy, start examining the intelligence. You're ready to send the troops into battle. Then you start looking at the intelligence and start trying to put together a map and a battle plan when they're ready under fire. And then he says, "Lechade means to sharpen. You sharpen the charavas. That's when you start sharpening your swords when you're ready in the battlefield. That'd be a foolish battle strategy. Shahare benkach he's gaber oyev. He says your army you're going to lose every time." Right? What kind of a foolish army would do that? Hamas. So v'chein hu betfilah. All of these. Okay. V'chein hu betfilah. Im yishtada rak b'shas ma'isa. Le'oretz halev lispal karoi. So just those who are during tefillah. If a person you're toiling, mishtadel, you're toiling, rak only during shas ma'isa, only during the actual time of tefillah to awaken your heart, karoi. Right? You only work during tefillah is your time of tefillah. Tefillah is your time of connection with Hashem. That's the time where you want to awaken your heart. If you're only working to awaken your heart during the tefillah itself, benkach ubenkach, hamachshav mishotetes. Your thoughts are going to stray automatically. They're going to stray no matter what. Ve'atfila ena kitabai. It's not going to be a good davening. V'nimsa hifsi tefillah. So you're going to lose out in your davening. Said it's an automatic loss. Right? If you sit there and you try to fit there and plan and you try to awaken your kavanah only during davening and try to get yourself closer, it's not going to do anything. Ve'etza bazeh hililmu b'sfarim u'mamorim hamiyachadim es adibor Right? It's specifically about learning these Sfarim and these Mamarim, exactly like we're doing right now, about that are going to work and teach us outside of davening itself how to prepare a battle strategy. How do we start checking out the intelligence? Right? We have to approach battle with intelligence. That's what he's saying. We learned from Avraham Avinu about that davening is mamash. Like he approached like to feel like a battle. So he's saying that it's mamash. We have to have our battle plans ready to go beforehand. So like boy itim is manim kivuim azeh. V'lilmod es ha'mamarim becheshek b'yispalus hanefesh. We have to learn these mamarim and take these shiurim seriously with an excitement, with a freshness, with a recognition that this is an ikar avodah of getting close to Hashem. And he says there should not be a big hefsek between these limudim about tefillah. The Kvar calls it b'sharei ora. Rabbi Etzla Belzer Zayich Leinu shezo sikim at asiba haikaris shalimin ma'amorim ha'maorim enenu poel apamim as pulaso anidrashes. He says this is the reason. Sometimes, according to what is said in the name of the Sharei Ora, right? He's saying that there was that a little bit of the reason why. Well, how come it happens that you could read such inspiring mamarim and it's like such fire pieces and like gets you going like in the moment, but then like afterwards it's like okay, whatever, like it doesn't have the desired effect, right? The whole point is these mamarim, these things are supposed to awaken your heart. Why doesn't that work? Because people make a big hefsek. There's a big time gap between the time you learn. So they have to be consistent. Ritzufos means like consistent. There has to be a consistency with it. They have to be smuchos. They have to be continuous, right? And this is like again, like people do this all the time, where what they'll do is they'll throw their tefillah seder, they'll throw their musar seder, they'll throw their hashkafa seder to the bottom of the list and be like, okay, yeah, definitely, I know I need musar, I know I need hashkafa. So once a week I have a hashkafa seder, whatever it is, right? It's like, what do you like? That's not going to do anything for you. He says because the idea is like when you have a ritzufa, when you have a ritzifas, when you have a continuation of when you're learning something and keep on chazer and keep it at the top of your head. That's how it continues to stand there. That's how it gets your nefesh excited about it. When you actually feel like it's actually penetrating you. But if it's so separate, then it's not. That's why you have to have a kfiyas. We have a kfiyas here. It's great. You should chazer also, but that's the idea. He's giving this all like really practical. He's like this is all like a vote of the ma'aseh. Like he's not just giving like right now just like kind of going through a list of just like here's like some nice things that you probably heard. Also he's like saying like he's literally building us. Like we're talking about the blueprint and the intelligence. He's like right now he's building the intelligence for us. Like he's saying like these points might sound to you like you've heard them a million times. Like he's like here's the thing though. Listen to what I'm saying and actually start applying it, and you're going to start to see that it's going to start to change. But he says actually apply it. V'limudenu rabosenu bekabbalah me'agra zal zechron lebracha u'ma'ariel me'rem salanter zecher yagnolenu. Shetov lachzor al maimer ha'ma'orer kama pa'amin. And this is advice that I can completely relate to and tell you that it works. It says that when you find something, when you find a mimer that just awakens you, like for example, if that piece we said last week, just for example, like about the chazar zeshatz, if you found like a hisorus with that, if you found like a wow, like that, like blew my mind, like I'm ready, like that. He says what you do. Based on the Gra, they say that you should go over that mimer me'orer, the mimer that's me'orer you, that awakens you. Come pamim, go over it again and again. Just go over it multiple times. Read through it once, read through it twice. Keep on reading through it. V'kasher megia le'eza maimer chazal oshar divrei musar asher yargish benavsho ki yispal mizeh v'yachtor letoch chadrei levavo. And you're going to start to feel, right? Your mamash going to start to feel this feeling that is getting ingrained into your heart. Right? The more you read through it, the more you do it again, over and over again, you're getting ingrained deeper and deeper and deeper into your heart. She yachzor v'yeshna oso b'yispalus. There's going to be an excitement. Until they're mamash ingrained on your heart. Then you just say them without even thinking. You say them over. It's just like they become like a part of you. And then when you're davening, you don't even need to think about it because it just comes naturally to you. And even when you're walking outside, when you're lying down, this mimer should be like should chime in your ears. Like even when you're just doing mundane things, this mimer that got you going, this mimer that got you to feeling this kirvas Hashem and this whatever it was, that inspiration, it should just be like a chime in your ears constantly. It's just always ringing there. Like a bell. Velo yamush bezechrono. When you approach the tefillah, you're already going to be ready to go. Likras avoda mutelas alav, to greet the avoda that's incumbent upon you. V'takal alav me'od, and it's going to be much easier. Hakavana v'yispal karoi, to have kavana karoi. So he's giving a real avoda l'maisa right now. And again, in all this hachanas ideas, he's saying that the point is, what he's saying now is like it's a very important thing to recognize. Don't be the guy that's trying to do all this stuff during tefillah. He says it doesn't work. He says what you're supposed to do is do what we're doing, right? And so to speak, on the outside of tefillah itself, get these things down that awaken your heart and like get them, chazer them, go over them. As you're walking around, just have it in your mind, keep it going. He says, do your hachana, do your hisarus alev outside of tefillah. So by the time you come to tefillah, you're ready to go. And that's just, it should be just a constant thing. And this is, again, the whole goal of what we're doing with tefillah. Tefillah is a constant thing. 24/7, 12 is this amount of tefillah. It's not just when you approach Ben Esrei. But the point is the more you go over the things outside of tefillah, the more you're going to be automatically just ready to go when you get there. He says the excitement, the pump up should be outside of tefillah. It shouldn't be during tefillah. And it's a very fundamental thing that we all slip in. Now it's good to know. We have to contemplate this idea very much. He says, that we have to really understand when we're coming to decide, are we going to set time aside for tefillah? Are we not? Like, maybe you're going to think to yourself, why am I going to go learn Torah? Go learn about tefillah. It's bittul Torah. I'm bittul the Gemara. I'm bittul this and that. Yeah, I'm going to bittul Torah, so I'm going to learn about tefillah. So I can't do this right now. What does he say? Right? It says if you didn't have to pray each day, maybe there'd be room to discuss. Right? He's basically saying, he says, listen, he's like, that's a valid point. Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. It's a good point. He says, maybe if you didn't have to daven every single day, if you didn't have like a chiyuv to daven every day, if we didn't spend literally like a third of our lives in davening, so like a third of our religious lives literally davening, right? Then maybe there'd be room to discuss. It's a good point. He says, maybe Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam, tefillah is not Keneged Kulam, so no. What does he say? But no, that's not the situation. However, we have a lot of time that we spend davening. We have a lot of time that we spend davening. And therefore, we have to designate time to learn about davening, because whether we like it or not, it's part of our avoda. And it's one of the highest levels of our avoda. It says, don't think it's like bittul Torah. It says, avada, it's Torah. Right? This is part of our avodas Hashem. It's all one sugya. Don't be like those kids that are like, I can't spend davening more than 5 minutes because of the fact, I got to get to my Gemara, I got to get that. That's just like a foolish way to think. Right? That's absurd. Tefillah Shachris, the Avrech, a Bachar Yeshiva. Nim Shechiv's there, Klal Kashay. It says, if you're a Bachar in Yeshiva, you're an Avrech and a Kolel, davening can take like an hour a day. In theory, Shachris. Mincha Mariv, Ke'esrim B'chamish Dakos, 25 minutes. Right? It's ready. We're all thinking like here right now. Like, I mean, in Yeshiva, I guess here. But, compared to what it is that I was in Teaneck a couple weeks ago. I can tell you right now, Mincha Mariv was not 25 minutes. It was more like...
Mincha Mariv together, maybe.
No. Yeah, right. Together was maybe like 18, 17, something like that. Okay, anyways. So Mincha Mariv, Ke'esrim B'chamish, maybe it's like 25 minutes. Because Shenitzrap Lazeh, Zmani Birkas HaMazon. Then you add into this the mix of the time of benching that you spend. Yotzei shebesacha kol ani magdishim atfilos bechol yom keshatayim temimos. Right, mamish, like if you add the times you spend like maybe even like at least 2 hours a day. At least 2 hours a day in davening. Ubeshabbos yom tov shetfilos haruchos. Shabbos and yom tov davening is even longer. Ke arba o chamesh shalos, 4 or 5 hours a day potentially. Right? Umi she'eno miskonen miskaben karoi yotzei. Sherov hashos halu avuro hein kemat bli tochan bli aliyah. Ubli nachas. That what's going to happen if we don't prepare right, if we don't actually take the time and take the focus to actually prepare for these things, to prepare ourselves and try to actually get ourselves into tefillah, you're going to find out that most of these hours, 5 hours on a Shabbos, are just bittul zman. You're not doing anything. You're not going anywhere. You're not feeling anything. During the week, you're davening, all the time of davening. It just feels like a waste of time. It's not a waste of time, but it feels like a waste of time. And we're humans. We're the way we naturally think, we don't like feeling like we're wasting time. We like feeling like we're b'nei aliyah, as he says here, like we're growing up, like we're doing something with ourselves, like we feel it. That's what we want to do. It says if we don't take the time to prepare outside of tefillah, that's what we're going to feel like. It says this is maisa. All of us have struggles in davening. He's telling us right now. He's addressing it right now. He's like I'm telling you why. He's like start applying these principles and you'll start to see. You'll start to change. And like we said, avada, you're going to fill your chiyuv of tefillah 100%, right? Just by davening and just getting through whatever. But in the sense of more of like growing and trying to actually grow and trying to, like we said, be megadel. Hein shows come out. That's a tongue twister, right? Okay, got it. Right? It's like mamash, like waste of time. It's a waste of time. Ve'im kain ha'im lo kedai lahachdish kol yom ke'esrim dakos. So it says if you want to therefore now make the argument that it's not kedai for you to allocate 20 minutes of your day to do what? To the avodah tefillah. As he says, you could change all these hours of tefillah, which are basically hava havalim, to steigen, the geschmack, they're great. The galus avodas tefillah. He says, what are you doing? If you don't want to, he says, why would you? He says, you could literally just dedicate 20 minutes a day. He says, you don't need a 4-hour morning seder to have growth in tefillah. You need 20 minutes a day to read the svarim, to chazer your svarim, to do whatever you need to do, and avodas tefillah. And he says that's going to change how many, in 2 hours for, 20 minutes for 2 hours a day to change our avodah, and it sounds like a pretty good deal to me. Lachin, therefore, how road to the hatzliach b'inyan tefillah. Someone who wants to succeed in the inyan tefillah, sarech lahakdish lazez mani michalim. You have to have special time. V'yasuk b'sfarim ha'oskim bazeh. If there will be osik in these svarim that talk about tefillah, umachshava ubizboninus al kol partei hasugyas. You need to really do some serious contemplation and thought about all these different sugyas and these things that he sorted us, these areas that are supposed to awaken us to tefillah. That therefore that the tefillah comes to us from a way that he loves, like burning, like fire, like mamish, like on fire. We want to acquire a desire, that there's so many. We want to benefit from the yofas of tefillah, like the beauty of tefillah. All these, there's so many things to take from tefillah. Where all the different variations of tefillahs and all the different variations of shefa and all the variations of kirbas Hashem and all the different things. He says this is what we want to acquire. It's just like any sort of davar kedusha. It needs ishtadlus. Right, if the person who toils, the one is he should feel confident he's gonna find it. Every single start is hard. Right? This is the ikr. Every single start is hard. Every single start is hard. No one is denying that. No one will ever deny that. And anybody who takes this seriously says you're going to literally switch, you're going to flip around the entire Suras HaChaim. Literally, when you change yourself in tefillah, it changes your whole Suras HaChaim. Like I mentioned, you go from just being a guy who is just whatever. You and God is here, you're here, Hashem is there, Hashem is everywhere, to like Hashem is right next to you all day. Your entire Suras HaChaim changes when you have tefillah. And these are the steps you need to take outside of tefillah. We need to actually put actual effort in it. It's bonus. When you're lying down in bed before you go to sleep, try to think about a couple of these things. Just contemplate. Remember we mentioned those kavanas. Right? A great thing to chazer is like those 3 kavanas that we mentioned, Messias Sharim said a couple of weeks ago. Right? About what are we supposed to think about? Hashem is right next to me. Pasha mamish. It's so simple, right? All these different things. So let's continue to, so there's another short section, so we'll continue there. Ve'af al zos aleinu lisbonin. And even with all of this, it's up to us, it's incumbent upon us to contemplate. We have to understand, we have to recognize and contemplate the way that the Torah set out our days for us. Like, what's our Seder Hayom? From all the avodas of Hashem, tefillah hi ha'inin shekol Yehudi makdish lo ba'achroch es hazman ha'orech b'yoser. By far, the time that we spend the most on, that's essential for every Jew, right? This is just the truth. Right, like excluding the people who are in Kola, whatever, just the average thing for every Jew, the longest time that the Torah allots for you is tefillah. Right, a person can fill their chiyuv of Torah, and again, technically you have a chiyuv of Torah 24/7/12. But think about the average balabas. Maybe it's very possible you spend 25 minutes a day. Again, you should all strive for more. I'm just saying in theory, even that, and that's considered good in today's time. So spend a half hour a day doing daf yomi in the middle of your workday, right? But even that same guy is automatically going to be davening for at least an hour and a half that day. All in all, right? So the time that Hashem allotted for us and the Torah allotted for us is clearly the majority in tefillah. Because it's going to say if there's an incidental day that what happens, the day goes by and you didn't get to learn Torah, right? Okay. Because ultimately we all know halacha. Or if we don't, now we know it. It's a great, interesting halacha to know that even if there's a day that by whatever happens, you're on a business trip, you're doing whatever it is, your kids are going crazy, whatever it is. Even if you didn't have a minute to learn, you're still yotzei your chiv l'limat Torah because you said Kriya Shema in the morning, Kriya Shema at night. You have a chiv to learn in the morning, and you have a chiv to learn at night. You said Kriya Shema. Now you fulfilled your chiv l'limat Torah at its bare minimum. Very interesting halacha. Ve'afal shu hefsed atzum. Even though it's mamish a hefsed, right? You lost out on l'limat Torah. We don't think of him as like a sinner. He's not like an avron. He's not a sinner. He's not someone who's over averos, right? Because he still fulfilled his chiyuv. But we all know there's a tremendous difference between that and somebody a Jew doesn't daven 3 times a day. Etzem Yehudaso me'eres ayidei kach. Imamish literally it literally devalues. Me'eres is kind of like tainas. It tainas the entire etzem Yehudaso. What is Yehudaso? Yehudaso is Jewishness. Literally. You're etzem of being a Jew. And it's true. If you really think about it, what is that?
What's etzem?
Etzem is like the essence. Mamash, like the essence of your Jewishness, so to speak. Of being a Jew. And you think about it, it's true on the outside, right? Again, like we just said, there are times, and there's plenty of times, there's plenty of people, there's plenty of Yarei Shemaim and whatnot, who's, okay, maybe they get, how much can they learn a day? Maybe a little bit, maybe here and there. And nobody thinks of them like kind of like, you don't like look at them and be like, oh, like whatever. Like, oh, okay, like bum, like necessarily, right? But if there's a guy who doesn't go to Minyan, forget Minyan. The guy just like openly says like, yeah, I don't really daven Marv, and I'm tired, whatever. Like all of a sudden, in a way, she's not the judge.
I don't want to open the door to something else. Isn't Marv not safe?
Yeah, well, it's good. Yeah, that is definitely opening a door. But no, I'm joking. It's a chova. No, but it's basically Marv has been in today's times. It's been accepted as just as strong a chova as all the other tefillas, because it was established as a minhag, but it was accepted at a certain point throughout history by all Klal Yisrael, and it's become a chova. It's a good question, but even still, so like if a guy's tainas nowadays on Damar because it's a minhag, we say, okay, stop being a fool. That sounds even worse than just being like I wasn't down to daven, right? But the point is, right, when you're putting on your shidduch resumes, you want to make sure that the girls know that you're davener 3 times a day. You want to make sure that. Not all of them care so much if you learn, but I'm telling you, this is a real thing. It's like, because this is like closing the book. Don't actually close your book. I'm like, you close the book for a second. Just even think about it. No judging, no whatever it is about anything. But like, when you think about a person who doesn't learn versus somebody who doesn't daven, you think way less of the person who doesn't daven. That's what defines you as a Jew, right? It's very interesting. It's a very interesting point that he's making. It's the truth. He's literally saying it here. He's saying, I'm not trying to bring tainas, not trying to bring rayas on people. I'm just saying it's the truth. Vizu raya berura. This is a clear proof, a clear raya. The giloi gomer. Sheat tefila he kamo avir l'neshima. He says this is a clear proof, a clear raya. This concept that we just said, it's mamish a proof that tefila is like air to the lungs. V'hi avoda she'aneshama tluya bo. Yoser mikol avoda acheres. And it's the avoda that the neshama completely depends on, is completely totally on, even more than any other avodas. Ve'yesod bazeh, shetfila nikras b'lashon chazal. In Gemara and Shabbos, daf yud, chaye shah. Kineged HaTorah, and nikras chaye olam. Because we know that tefillah is called, what? Tefillah is called chaye shah. Chaye shah means like a temporary life, temporal life. That's what tefillah is called. While Torah is called chaye olam, eternal life. Shetfila, he etzem achayus shel ha'adam b'olam hazeh. Tefillah is literally, the reason it's called tefillah is called temporal life. It sounds in a way like, oh wow, that's worse. No, it's not, because he's saying tefillah is the etzem of a person's life in olam hazeh. Is literally the etzem of your life, the essence of a person's life. It's what keeps you alive. Because that's tefillah in olam hazeh. That's what keeps us. That gives us our kesher between us and Hashem. That's what brings us our actual connection, the natural connection between a Jew and his Creator. It's tefillah. It says that's why it's called chaye shah. V'lochen kodemas tefillah leTorah v'chiyuva kol yom shos rabos, and that's the reason that tefillah actually takes precedence over Torah in the amount of hours that it takes. The amount of hours spent at tefillah, we spend more hours in tefillah and Torah. It's a really crazy thing if you think about it. Very, very interesting. We definitely know that the mile of Torah is gdola meilas tefillah, because we know Talmud Torah can make kulam. The mile of Torah itself is higher than tefillah, but for some reason Torah allots us more time to daven than to learn Torah. Why?
What is mila?
Mila means like it means like a level. It means like a level or advantage, so to speak. So aval domezeh lemash amra Torah v'nishmartem me'od lenafshasechem. This is like what the Torah says, that you should what? You should guard yourselves. You should guard yourselves and guard your lives well. Right? This is the pasuk that says you should guard your body. You should take care of yourself, your physical self. Shmiras kiyum haguf ve'chaim hativim kodem l'chol davar. That we know that what? We know that the physical health, physical safety takes precedence over anything else. Right? Pikuach nefesh is docha Shabbos. Ve'af agav the pshita, the avodas habora ben neshama me'ula hi al avodas kiyum haguf. Right? It's interesting because we know that avodas habora, right, when that's serving Hashem with our neshama, is definitely me'ula. It's definitely a higher level than the avoda of being the kiyum haguf, right? Keeping our body strong. But what does it say? Avaksiv lo amesim hallelujah. Because what does it say? It says that the dead don't praise Hashem. Ve'akol nidcha kineged shmiras hachayim hativim kitikuna. Right? Everything is docha, like we said, to staying alive. And so too, same concept applies when serving Hashem. Tefillah is the root of our life. This is a tremendous principle. This is a tremendous chiddush that he's saying here. It's unbelievable. And we'll explain it again in a second, but we'll wrap up with it. Tefillah is the root of a person's natural life force. That tefillah is what connects you with Hashem. And Hashem is the source of chayim. So you're only alive as long as you're connected to Hashem. Tefillah is what gives you that connection, strengthens that connection with Hashem. Ve'al can go in Dok Sivan. It's written about this in Mishlei. The Kol Meshamer and it's Sorli Becha Kim Menu Totzas Chayim. So that again, you have to protect yourself. You have to guard yourself and guard your heart, because from your heart and from your kesher to Hashem, so to speak, that's where chayim comes from. So the chiddush that he's saying here at the very end, it's a tremendous chiddush. He's saying in theory, you would think that okay, fine, Torah is a higher mile than tefillah. So why is Hashem telling us to spend more time in tefillah than Torah? Because he's saying that just like anything else in life, pikuach nefesh is docha everything, right? Our physical self, our physical safety is docha everything. Why? Lo mesim hallelujah. Right? Because the dead don't praise Hashem. So Hashem says, I want you to keep praising. I want you to keep doing mitzvahs. I want you to stay alive so you can do more mitzvahs. So therefore, stay alive. So I'd rather you be able to keep, so to speak, right? It says in the Gemara on Shabbos, right? But you say, I'd rather you be able to keep, you be docha this Shabbos, you keep many more Shabbos in the future and you're not going to die. So so therefore, applying the same concept, we say that tefillah is the life force, right? The only reason we're alive is if we're connected to Hashem. If we have if the life force is coming from Hashem, then we're alive. The second the life force ceases, we're done. We're gone. And so therefore, what gives us that life force? We said before, what is the gateway? What is the shar to all of the shefa from Hashem? There's nothing that comes from Hashem into this world that's not al yidei tefillah. There's nothing. So therefore, literally, tefillah is, in a way, pikuach nefesh. Saying it's even docha Torah. That's the reason why we spend more time in davening than limud Torah. Not to say limud Torah is not in the higher mila itself. It's on a higher mila. Talmud Torah can kulam. But he's saying there's still the concept of it. The reason why we spend more time on tefillah than Torah is because of the fact that tefillah is our life force. It's a lot much our life ring in this world. And we have the ability to grab onto so much life, and literally all of our life. That's our kesher to Hashem. And we know Hashem is considered, we know the Torah is called Eitz Chaim. Hashem is Eitz Chaim, the Chai Olamim. We call Hashem Chai Olamim, right? All these different things. Chai, Chaim, all these types of things. Life is Torah, life is Hashem. And the way to ultimately grab on and hold on to it and to elicit this connection is through tefillah. So we should be zocher, and we'll continue with Hashem in a couple of days. Shkoyach.